On a historic mission. We are here to discuss the situation regarding Syrian refugees, and the whole world's attention is on this city, is on this issue from a humanitarian point of view. And I'm very happy to be hosting my dear friends and colleagues in this city of Gaziantep. And first of all, I'd like to congratulate them and thank them for making the trip on this special day. And I am honored to be conducting a joint agenda with all of my friends and colleagues. As I said, this is a special day because it is the National Independence Day and the Children's Festival. The 23rd of April, and yesterday we were at the 2016 Antalya Expo opening ceremony, and the theme there was flowers and gardens. And today, when we went to the camp in Nizip with my dear friends and colleagues, we were able to see and witness firsthand how children are actually affected from this tragedy. Children are, of course, the most innocent beings on this planet, and unfortunately they are the ones to be hit the hardest from the humanitarian tragedy that is unfolding in Syria. In Turkey currently there are tens of thousands of orphan Syrian children. 152,000 Syrians were born in this country. More than 700,000 Syrian children, or Syrian refugee children, are waiting for more means for education. And we have the joint responsibility of having a humanitarian approach to all of this, to deal with these issues. On the 29th of November, we had a summit in Brussels between Turkey and the European Union, and ever since we have been deploying joint efforts, which also means that we have covered a great distance and made great progress. One of the main themes of the summit on the 29th of November was making sure that we have a common approach so that no more babies lose their lives trying to cross the Aegean like was the case of Aylan baby. But let me be very clear about one point. Both on behalf of the Republic of Turkey, Germany, and our European friends, we have to find a solution to the biggest humanitarian tragedy to ever unfold since the Second World War. It is, of course, not an issue to be dealt with only by Turkey or only by Europe. The international community should come together as one heart and one mind and one consciousness to deal with this issue. We are all jointly responsible to find a solution, because if we do not do so, we leave a very negative heritage to the upcoming generations. Turkey currently welcomes and houses 3 million refugees, and that makes Turkey the country in the world with the highest number of refugees. So Gaziantep, Kilis, our cities such as Şanlıurfa, Hatay, Kahramanmaraş, and all of our other cities, of course, in all of our cities, we are welcoming our Syrian brothers and sisters. And Gaziantep, since day one, has been very sacrificing and very willing to open its hearts and arms to the Syrians. So I'm very grateful to the city. Also, our brothers and sisters from Kilis, the city of Kilis, have recently been facing the terrorist attacks of the Daesh terrorist organization, and they've been very resilient in the face of these attacks, and they've been very also generous in terms of welcoming our Syrian brothers and sisters. So it's also worthy of mentioning. And with that, I'd like to again hope that our citizens who lost their lives in Kilis as a result of these terrorist attacks rest in peace, and we will remain determined in the face of these attacks.
And I think we as Europeans should state very clearly today here that you are not alone in this, and Europe is committed to fulfilling the agreements we've reached. And I have to witness here to everyone that Prime Minister Davutoglu and his government have stuck to the letter of the agreement we've reached, and we are working on it on a day-to-day basis to fulfill all elements of our agreement. The European Commission is strongly committed to making a success of the Turkey facility. We really want these projects to take off. I mean, if you see the commitment of parents to look for a better future of their children, if you see the joy the children have in the schools we saw today, how can we then not help them get this education, work in a brighter future, so that they can go back to a free Syria and build up the country that really needs to be built up when this horrible war is over? And we want to be part of that. So by the end of July, I think we can have reached the level of over 1 billion euros of projects committed to ensure a better future for Syrians in Turkey.
Dear Ahmet, Davutoglu, dear guests, I would like to express my gratitude for the hospitality, especially that we received not only from the Lord Mayor of Gaziantep, but all the other people of Gaziantep. Today we were provided with the opportunity to, in a very practical way, take a closer look at one part of the agreement between the European Union and Turkey, whilst at the same time taking a closer look at the efforts that Turkey is undertaking, not only to provide a safe haven for 3 million refugees, but also to provide them with opportunities and perspectives. And in its agreement with Turkey, the European Union has agreed on the principle of better burden sharing. What we want to make sure is that the refugees don't have to resort to illegal channels for migration, but to put it on a legal footing. But it's not very easy to stop the flow of migrants through dangerous channels, and thus we have to work to provide the people with better opportunities close to their home country. And that is one of the purposes of the cooperation between the European Union and Turkey. The fact that we have come here on the Day of the Child, Day of Children, is very interesting to note, and we took the opportunity to visit the Child Protection Support Center in Gaziantep, where children are being looked after, where children are being provided with education and training, a place for children to go and learn, to acquire new skills with which to make a living at a later point in time. It was deeply impressive to see the work of the people there, but then again it only reaches like 10 to 15% of the refugees, and we know that but 10% to 15% of the refugees that come here are being looked after in a camp, and we have to also make sure that we deal with the interests of the other 90% or 85%. We've been able to inaugurate that first project, the Child Protection Support Center. We were able to talk to the center and the people from UNICEF about the purpose of that center and the objectives that they pursue. In a city with 370,000 refugees, 107,000 of which are children, it's quite a challenge. Some of them are being looked after, they're being provided with school education, they're working in 2 groups. Thus we have to do more to go in that direction. We want to make available and put to good use the funds made available in the refugee facility to work to provide the children with a good education, school education. We know how important that is. We also have to deal with the traumas of the children and their parents. We have many orphans amongst the children. We have children with a handicap, disabled children. So there are many areas in which we can pursue projects that are meaningful and purposeful, and I am quite confident that the European Union will continue to identify such projects.